Hello and welcome to the Big Strum. It's week 10 of the Big Strum. We've been doing this now for 10 weeks. If you've been here every week, welcome back. If this is your first week, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Come join the Ukulele, the Big Strum family, and we'll give you a virtual hug. Okay, so what we're going to do this week, we are going to recap some chords. Now, obviously, we've done this every week. Look, my ukulele disappears. Oh, it's a shame. I'm going to have to hand you over to my good friend, Adam, my co-host, to help with the heavy lifting.
This is becoming, if you are new, I'm sorry, this is a long-running thing now. At the beginning of every session, we run through all of the chords that we've learned so far, which is an impressive 5 chords. Now, am I 5 chords? I've just said an impressive. It's 5. I've got them written down, but I just wanted to check. We've got 5 chords that we've learned so far, and every single week Phil does the little introduction bit and then throws it over to me to run through those chords. The problem is, as we're getting more chords, I'm having to run through them quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker, and then people, especially in the Zoom call, people shout at me and get upset because I'm going too quick, and they go, "You're doing too fast." So I'm going to run through these really quick, these 5 chords. And if you're new, and I say this every single week, if you're new, just pick 1, maybe 2 of those chords, really get to grips with those chords, and then stick with them for the whole lesson, and you're going to be absolutely fine. If you've been with us for the full 10 weeks, we're hoping that by now you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I know these chords, I'm fine, I can get to grips with them," and it's just a very quick reminder for you. So please don't be put off in the first couple of seconds by the speed that I'm going to go through these chords. So we're going to start with the easiest one, I think. Anyway, let me take my tuner off. We're going to start with the easiest one, I think. We're going to start with a C major. So we're going to start by counting down the strings. Goat, can, eat, anything. G, C, E, A to find the bottom string. And then we're going to count along 1, 2, 3 frets. We're going to press that string down nice and hard, and we're going to give it a quick strum. And that's our C major. We're then going to move on to F major, which was the second chord we learnt. This one needs 2 fingers, so you're going to start on the G, C, E string. Goats can eat. You're going to start on the E string in the 1st fret, and then you're going to take your next finger and you're going to put it up on the top on the G string in the 2nd fret, and that is your F major chord, so give that a quick strum. The next one is G major. Now, believe it or not, when we first did G major, for the first couple of weeks, we actually got emails about this, angry emails going, "It's too hard, it's too fiddly, we don't like G major, stop doing G major." I'm hoping most of you have got used to G major now. What should happen now is that you go, "Oh yeah, G major, yeah, it's just that, isn't it?" And absolutely fine with it. You should find now that it's got so much more comfortable because you've got used to it. So, G major, you're going to start with the finger on the 2nd fret of the C string. Goats can. And then you're going to just twist that finger around, and you're going to put a finger on the 2nd fret of the A string underneath it, right down at the bottom. And then you're going to take your 3rd finger and put it out 1 fret in front on the E string in the middle, and that is our G major. So give that a quick strum. Remember, if you're new, you don't have to do that one if you don't want to. You can miss it out for today's lesson. The next chord is the one it's not the one we learned last week. I'm going to move on to A minor. I've written them down on my notepad in the wrong order. I'm going to go to A minor first. A minor is a nice easy one. So A minor, 2nd fret of the G string, and just put your finger on there, top string, 2nd fret, and that is your A minor. So if you're new to us this week, you could quite easily do A minor and C major whenever they pop up, because that's just two frets, 1 finger each. That's really easy. So that's not a difficult thing to do if you're new. The last one is our brand new chord that we learned last week, which is D major. Now this one, sometimes people find this one feels a little bit uncomfortable just because you've got to squeeze your fingers into a very small space. In terms of the actual logic of the chord, it's not a difficult shape to get your head around. You're going to put your 1st finger on the G string, 2nd fret. Then you're going to put your 2nd finger on the C string, 2nd fret, and your 3rd finger on the E string, 2nd fret. So all 3 of those fingers are in the same fret. You're just going to leave the E string at the bottom completely alone. Don't touch that string. Now that might feel like a bit of a squeeze. The more you turn your hand on the side, the easier that is. If you try and keep your hand straight and squeeze those fingers underneath, that's a proper squash. But if you can turn your hand sideways, that makes them into a nice comfortable line. And there's your D major. So while Phil's talking you through what we're going to do next, feel free to just run through and find as many of those chords as you can. If you want to just go C, F, G, A minor, D, and just find your way around those chords. then that's quite a good way of just warming your fingers up as we start. Okay, I'm going to pass back to Phil because we're going to do a song, I think.
Yeah, that's right. So if you just want to play those chords, completely ignore what I'm saying. I'm not going to say anything interesting. Adam's right. That's what he's inferring there. I know the truth. So what we're going to do,
not to say that, you know.
what we're going to do is we're going to recap the song we did last week. So if you remember that, it was Blowing in the Wind. Lots of C's, lots of G's, and some D, and a little D, little D snuck in there. So we're going to just recap that, just to play that through. Hopefully you've been practicing that every day. All of these songs, all of these play-alongs are on the Revolution Arts YouTube channel. You can catch up with all of the play-alongs, all of the things that we're doing today, the chord workouts that we've done previously, and also the whole lesson is there as well. So if you want to re-watch the whole lesson, you can pause that video, watch where we put our fingers, listen to anything that you didn't catch. And we're just going to do Blowing in the Wind now. So you can pick how you want to do it. You can do a strum pattern, or you can just play them as I say them on the words that come. I will shout them out so you can hear my dulcet tones. I will try and do it quick enough. It's always a bit of a kind of, where do you say it? Do you say it on the bar before? Do you say it just as it happens? It's never, you can never please everybody. So I'll do it as I keep doing it. I'm sure we've been battling on before. So here we go. Bit quick Blowing in the Wind. Starts with a C chord, if I'm not very much mistaken. I might be wrong. Starts with the G chord. I am wrong. C starts with the G. So it starts with the G chord. Here we go. Get your G's down. Let's do this thing. I realise you've not got any sound there, have you? Because I've just realised I forgot to hit the little button.
You know what? We're 10 weeks in and that's the first time you've done that.
I know, right? But I immediately remembered that I didn't do it. So that's pretty good. I think I'm quite impressed with that. Right, anyway, enough of this nonsense. Here we go. Straight in with the G. Fantastic. Okay, so I didn't get a chance to look. Sometimes I get a chance to look through the Zoom chat and see everybody playing, but I didn't quite get. There was lots of changes there, so couldn't quite get that. But I'm sure, hopefully, you've all enjoyed that. Say in the comments below if you're on Facebook. Say in the chat if you got there. We'll get some chatting going on. That's all good. Okay, so that was Blowing in the Wind. Now what we need is a new chord. Now we did kind of stick with the 3 chords for a while and then kind of drip fed a chord, and we only just did D, but we're gonna do another chord, and our new chord is E minor. And the reason we're doing this is because it's bringing us into the key of G, because now we've got G, C, D, E minor. That's going to work, and we've now got pretty much 2 full keys of chords that we can play. So we've got the key of C and the key of G, and now I like to think of keys as essentially a bag. They're a bag of chords that you can use, and all these chords, you can pick them out the bag and they're all going to sound good together. they're not going to sound like the wrong chord. So you've got your bag, it says G major, you've got all of these chords that you can pull out of this bag, you've got your bag that says C major, you've got all of these chords that come out of that bag. I don't want to get into too much to the theory, but essentially these chords are going to sound great together. So, as is always the case, oh, it's disappeared. Oh, what a shame. Over to Adam for the hard work.
Yeah, he's making out to me the bad guy. Can I just say, by the way, on the Zoom call, I was looking at people on the Zoom call when you said we were doing a new chord, and the enthusiasm was unbelievable. Just everyone going, yeah, new chord. We were really pleased about it. Okay, so like Phil said, if you think of the key as basically a bag of chords, we've now got the full bag for C major. That C, that F, that G, that A minor. We've got a nice full bag of C major key chords. G major, we've got G, we've got C, we've got D. They're all good G major chords. The last one we need in there is we need a minor. So this time we're going to put in an E minor chord, which is the one that goes best with G major, C major, D major. So we're going to learn an E major chord. Now, this is a 3-finger chord. But I personally think that this one is a lot easier. I don't think this one is too bad at all. There's a real logic to this one. I don't know how much we've talked about this before, but when we play a chord, I like to think in terms of the shape that you're making with the chord. So when we talked about G major, we talked about a triangle shape there. E minor is basically a diagonal line. When I'm teaching this in schools, when I'm teaching this to children, I tend to find lots of them talk about a staircase. They think of a set of stairs going up. Because what's going to happen, we're going to start in the 2nd fret of the A string with our 1st finger, our index finger probably. The biggest mistake I see lots of people make is starting on the 1st fret for this one. Make sure it's the 2nd fret of the A string. And what you're basically going to do is you're going to go across 1 fret and up 1 string. So you go across to the 3rd fret and up to the E string. You then go across 1 fret and up 1 string. So you go across to the 4th fret and up onto the C string. Don't add the last one, okay? In the same way that D major, we had that nice pattern and then we ignore the A string. With this one, we've got that nice 3 fingers and we're just going to ignore the G string. That can stay completely empty. So it's basically that diagonal line. We go across a fret and up, across a fret and up. And we just make that really nice steps, that diagonal line. 2nd fret of the A string, 3rd fret of the E string, 4th fret of the C string. And if you give that a nice strum, that plays as an E minor. It looks complicated as a chord, but actually it's quite comfortable, because your fingers are nice and spaced out. There's a nice sensible pattern to where they're going. So I personally don't think E minor is that bad. Should we very quickly just do, I'm going to strum 4 E minors, and all I want you to do is just strum me 4 E minors back. So I'm going to go E minor, 2, 3, 4, and then your turn, 2, 3, 4, and then me, 2, 3, 4, and then you, 2, 3, 4, and then me, 2, 3, 4, and then you, 2, 3, 4. As with all our other chords, make sure your fingers are only touching those strings on those frets. You're not accidentally knocking any of the other strings. Otherwise, you're going to start to get this sort of thing going on. Make sure that you're just keeping those fingers on that fret, on that string, and then not touching anything else. And you'll get a really, really neat, nice, clean sound, which is what we're looking for. So, a couple of weeks ago, we introduced chord workouts, and we did a couple of little chord workouts just to get you changing chord. And this is really helpful because, and last week, in fact, I talked about muscle memory, this idea of being able to kind of remember within your hand itself where those fingers go. So you don't have to kind of engage your brain too much when it comes to finding the new chord. These chord workouts are entirely about that. They're just changing from one chord to another chord, and keep swapping around these chords so that your fingers start to remember this movement. So I'm going to pass over to Phil, who's going to introduce the first of our chord workouts.
Yep, cool, fantastic. So chord workout, our first chord workout is going to be C to E minor. Now, we have always used our 3rd finger for C. I'm going to bring it along. See, I could do it. I say I can't do the chords, but look, I could do it.
All a trick. It's all a trick.
It's all just a lie. So what you're going to do now, obviously we're used to saying use your 3rd finger. I can't look at it though. That's always the thing that gets me. Whenever I see it on screen, I can't look at it and play it. I can do it without looking, but if I see it on screen, I get confused. We always say the 3rd finger. See, I'm on the wrong fret. But what we're going to do is you can, if you're confident enough, you can just move your 2nd finger down to do an A minor. E minor, sorry. So if that's what you prefer, you can do that. That's absolutely fine. So we're going to do C to E minor. Now, I'm not going to shout these out because it is literally C, E minor, 4 beats. And you can choose how you want to do it. You can play it once and just go C, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, and E minor. Or you can do 4 times, or 3 times, or 2 times, or whatever you feel comfortable with. You can always, as we've talked before, you can always step the gears up. Start with 1 strum, try 2 strums, 3 strums, 4 strums. Oh, 4's too many, I'll go back to 3. Give yourself a chance to change. Hopefully, these are all going to be on the YouTube channel, Revolution Arts. Check out the YouTube channel, and then you can watch these videos, and you can just practice these workouts. We've talked about it. Try and practice every day, waiting for the kettle to boil, when waiting for your tea, when your chicken's cooking on the thing, whatever. There we go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do this. Here we go. We're going to share my screen, and we're going to do our chord workout, C to E minor. It starts with C. Here we go. Have a listen. So C. Click out as well. Excellent. Okay, so that was C to E minor. Now we're just going to keep going. So the next one we're going to do is D to E minor. Now obviously this is going to be slightly more fiddly. You've got this shape here, your 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3 on the 2nd fret, and then you're going to change to your E minor. 1, 2, 3, change to your E minor. Now, this might take you a bit longer, so obviously give yourself a bit more time. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, and play. 2, 3, 4. It's the same speed, so you've got quite a long time to do it. Once you're confident with it, start ramping up the gears, add more strums.
You know what? Very quickly, Phil, because I've just had a thought. This isn't on the planning at all. I've just had a thought. Something we hadn't mentioned for kind of weeks, actually, and we did do a lot of this when we first started. Make sure that you're moving your fingers as soon as you're able. Okay, so if you're doing 1 strum and then 1 strum, make sure you use all 4 of those beats. Don't go D, 2, 3, 4, oh, what's E minor, and suddenly panic. D, 2, 3, 4, E minor. Use those 4 beats to get those fingers moving. You've got 4 beats. As soon as you've strummed, you can get those fingers off and start getting them in the new position. So just think that through. Okay, Phil?
Yeah, cool. I just thought something else that we did talk about was the other thing to remember is that you can always guide your fingers with these chords. So your new chord E minor, what I quite like to think of it is it's a staircase, isn't it? So you can, if you guide with that first finger and then put everything else on. Now, ultimately, you want to be able to do that like I just did there and just put everything down, like everything moves together. But if you start with this idea of kind of building the chord up, there's your D, and then your first finger goes down, then they add. And you can actually like think, there's time to think about that. I'm in my D, first finger moves down, then I make a staircase, and I've got my E minor. You've got time to do that. So we're going to do D to E minor. Again, I'm not going to shout the chords out. It just starts on a D, straight to an E minor. Here we go. You know the drill. Starts with a D. a dance there. I haven't done a dance for ages.
Sorry, I
So
got a bit carried away with that one.
Let myself go and go crazy.
Sorry.
I hope I didn't scare too many people. Okay, so we're going to do our final chord workout, which is D, E minor, G. Now, for this one, you've just exactly the same principle. You're playing your D, you change it to E minor, then you're changing to your G. Now, again, you might want to just focus on, maybe you just want to focus on your D to E minor change. You might want to focus just on your E minor, G change. I'm not going to shout out every chord, but I will shout out when we get back to D every time. That'll just give us a chance. So if you get kind of lost, you're, oh, I can't hear where I am, I don't know what's going on. D, 2, 3, 4, back to the chords. So without further ado, we're going to launch straight in. As I say, Revolut and Arts YouTube channel, check it out. Make sure you're there, and then you can't miss out. You can practice all of these chords. It'll be super simple. I'm speaking while navigating. Look at that, like that's seamless. Right, okay, here we go. Here we go. D minor. And back to D minor. D. Now back to the D. Or D. Go back to D minor. D. D major. E minor. D. E minor. Back to D. E minor. G. Back to D. E minor. D. Back to D. Cool. Okay. Won't worry about the drum outro. Okay, cool. Very good. Now, here we go. That was all those changes. So what we need now is a new song. So I can always count on Adam to help us out. So he's going to go over to Adam now, and he's going to give us a quick recap of some chords that we might need in this next song. Over to Adam.
Am I allowed to give away what the song is, or was
Yeah,
your pun already given it away? Okay, this one, we decided to get, you might have noticed we did Shotgun a couple of weeks ago. We decided to go a little bit more modern with our music. This one's actually surprisingly old, actually. But we're going to go for Count on Me by Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars, in case anyone's interested, is one of this kind of new generation of pop stars who plays ukulele. Okay, there are a few of them out there. Taylor Swift's another one. And there's a few others. Bit of homework in case anyone's interested. Find some pop stars who play ukulele. But Bruno Mars quite famously plays ukulele. So we decided to go for a Bruno Mars song. And this one's Count on Me, which is really popular in schools at the minute, actually. But this one, if you don't know it, don't worry. You'll pick it up really, really easy. This one is sort of back in our C major key, actually. But it does use that E minor chord. So it uses the chords C, E minor, A minor, G major, and F major. Now we've spent a lot of time today using C and E minor, and we've even just done a little bit of G. So hopefully they're nice and fresh in your memory. I'm just going to very quickly go over A minor and F again, just in case anyone's forgotten those two now. Because this is the problem. When you get more and more and more and more chords, you have to have more and more chords in your memory. I'm terrible. I forget all my passwords and PIN numbers and everything because my brain is just full of ukulele chords. Okay, if you ask me a B flat -7, no problem. But if I have to remember what the password is to get into my emails, it's an hour's working it out. So basically, F major, first fret of the E string, second fret of the G string. That's our F major, and then A minor, second fret of the G string up there. And actually changing between those two is really, really easy because the only difference is that you're just taking that first finger off the E string, and that's changing A minor to F really, really easily. So this one's got pretty much the same chord sequence all the way through. It does change slightly when it gets to the bridge, but for most of it, it's C minor, E minor, A minor, G major, F major in that sequence. And actually it sounds a bit odd ending on the F major, but that's because it kind of wants to come back to the C again to start for the next time around. So it's C major, E minor, A minor, G major, F major. Now, again, if you're new, you do not need to play all of those chords. That is a lot of stuff to take in if you're new. Even if you're not new, even if you've been with us all the way through and you're going, I still don't like G major, then just miss it out. There's nothing wrong today with going C major, E minor, A minor, and then waiting until it comes back to C again. If you want to take the E minor out, C, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, G, then that's absolutely fine. Just put in the chords that you can do and you're comfortable with, and then have fun and sing along for the rest of it. Okay, are we all ready and good to go with this one, Phil?
Almost, yes. Okay, so really, really quickly, as we always say, there's kind of levels to how you want to play these songs. First level is just play the note, the chord when you see it in the lyric, and just hit it when you can hear it changing. We've got a little bit of a strum pattern that you can do, so it's down, 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 up, down, up. There is a slightly more advanced one, but we're not going to go into. It's not quite the right. There's a better one, but I don't. It's too complicated. So down, 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 up, down, up. So what you're going to do is you're going to do your chord sequence, and you're going to start on your C, and you're going to go down, 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 up, E minor, A minor, G. Now there's a cheeky G to F is probably the most complicated bit, but I'm sure you'll be fine. As Adam said, if you want to leave it out, that's fine. Nobody cares. It's fine. It's great. You can always practice it. Go to the Revolution Arts YouTube. I'm plugging this loads today.
RevolutionArts.com/Big Strum, and there's a link there.
Yes, and also if you want to show us you playing the ukulele, you can send your videos to digital@revolutionarts.com. We'd love to do as a final thing a montage, maybe of several songs, but a montage of people playing. If you just want to send us videos so we can see you playing, we love to see you guys playing these songs. Just whack it on your phone or whatever. You don't necessarily need to use the backing track, it's fine. Or if the backing track's not quite working on the video, that doesn't matter. Just we'd love to see you guys playing. So without further ado, we're going to launch straight in now. Here we go. Starts with the C. I will shout the chord.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea,
A minor.
I'll sail the world
G.
to find you.
C.
If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see,
A minor.
I'll be the light
G. Then F.
to guide you.
F down F.
Find out what we're made of
And F.
when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3.
A minor.
I'll be there.
G. F.
And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2. You'll be there.
G. F.
'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do. Oh yeah.
E minor.
Ooh,
A minor.
If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep,
A minor.
I'll sing a song
G. F.
beside you.
Back to C.
And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will
G. F.
remind you. Find out what we're made of
F.
when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3. I'll be there.
finished before it did. Ah, there we go. So, you can count on us. We'll be here next week, 4 o'clock,
Oh, that's-
Thursday.